Adjunct Professor Moran, Microeconomics 112. In this session, possibly the next one, we have the following goals. We're going to review cost calculations by continuing on activity 28, practice calculating marginal cost and average total cost. We're going to derive the supply curve for the individual firm graphically and numerically from here, and graphically from these curves. We're going to discover that is related to price greater than average variable cost is where the firm will produce. We're going to derive the supply curve for the industry by using the individual firm's demand supply curve. So individual firm, industry supply curve. Then we're going to determine if this is a long run or short run equilibrium. We're going to learn that in the long run, price will equal average total cost minimum. If it's not a long run equilibrium, we're going to analyze what's going to happen to the production of the individual firm as it adjusts to long run equilibrium conditions. So the long run equilibrium of the industry, and then work back to the individual firm. So we're starting with the firm, working up to the market equilibrium, determine whether it's short run or long run, and work back to the firm as the number of firms adjust their price quantity output to conform with the long run equilibrium. So let's again work with activity 28, and marginal cost is current total cost divided by prior total cost divided by the change in output. So 13 minus 9 is 4, 18 minus 13 divided by the change in output, which is 1 in this case is 5, 24 minus 18, 6, here's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Our average total cost is our total cost divided by the quantity of output. So 9 divided by 1, 13 divided by 2, 18 divided by 3 is 6, 24 divided by 4 is also 6, 31 divided by 5 is 620, 8 divided by 6 is 650, 58 divided by 8 is 725, and so. Now, in order to determine long run equilibrium, we're going to relate that, as we're going to soon learn, to average total cost minimum. So here the average total cost minimum happens at $6 and 4 units. Now, you can see that if we graph the marginal cost curve, it goes like this, and it's going to reach a minimum. It's going to reach a minimum at 5. But average total cost and marginal cost are happening at 6. So this 6 units, $6. Here's 5. This equality is 6 and 6. Average total cost 6. So this doesn't. It's happening at an in-between point. You don't want to do it over here. You want to do it over here. All right. So ignore this one. Okay. So now that we have practiced with calculating costs, we can go to the supply curve for the firm. Now, to understand the supply curve for the firm, we have to understand what it looks like graphically. Okay, let's go back to our profit max, loss min, and shutdown situations. Here they are. So the conditions are, if price is greater than average total cost, the firm will produce and produce at a profit. If the price is between average total and average variable, then although the firm is losing money, it's still making a profit on its average variable, So by operating at a loss, it will lose less money than if it closes down and incurs its fixed cost loss. So it'll supply. But when price is less than average variable, there's no point in opening up. The firm's going to shut down, because not only will it incur its fixed cost as a loss, it will also incur a loss on every variable unit let's in, because the cost of the variable unit is greater than the price. So, price, go over to price equals marginal cost. Alright, come down. This is the quantity that will be produced at profit max. Here's the price per unit, the profit per unit on this many units. Yes, it's producing. Loss min, when price is between average total and average variable, that would be here. Go over. Here's price loss min, quantity loss min, producing, yes. But when price is below average variable cost, right? So here, let's do this again. Price, here's your average total cost. Here's your average variable cost. Price greater than average total, average variable. Profit max. In this middle example, at this quantity, here's your average total cost. Here's your average variable cost. So price, find price equals marginal cost, get the quantity. From that quantity, read both the average total and average variable. You can see that price is between the two. This situation is a loss min. But if price falls this low, for example, at this quantity, average variable cost is greater than price. That's a shutdown condition. From this, we can conclude that the firm will not produce at these price marginal cost combinations. The firm will start to produce where price equals average variable cost min, because we know that variable cost minimizes where it crosses marginal cost, and average total cost minimizes where it crosses marginal cost. The firm will produce here and profit and loss minimize, and here the firm will produce and profit maximize. So the supply curve for the individual firm is the marginal cost curve of average variable cost min. The supply curve of an individual firm in a purely competitive market is price greater than average variable cost min. Here, not here. So, looking at our data, we don't have average variable cost min here. Okay. So, if the price were $8, we need to compare price to marginal cost to determine how much the firm will produce. So, at price of $8, we go down until we find marginal cost of $8, and the firm will produce 6, this is thousands of units. At $9, go back to the table. I just duplicated the table so we don't have to flip back and forth. At $9, go down and find marginal cost of $9. Price equals marginal cost will result in production of 7. 10. $10 price marginal cost 8 for the individual firm. Marginal cost of 11. Price 11. 9. Marginal price equals 12. Marginal cost equals 12. The firm will produce 10. We've now produced the supply curve for the individual firm. In general, the supply schedule of a perfect competitive firm coincides with its average variable cost curve, marginal cost curve, in the range where price is greater than average total cost. Okay. So we're going to read the supply curves. We're going to find price equals marginal cost at every point. At this point, the firm is not producing. At this point, where price equals average variable cost min, the firm starts producing. So the firm will produce along its marginal cost curve. As price goes up, more will be produced. Price equals marginal cost, all along this curve above average variable cost min. Now, let's assume this is a perfectly competitive firm and there are 1,000 identical firms. We're now going to determine the market quantity supplied from the individual firm. If the price were $12, each firm is producing 10. There are 1,000 firms, that would be 10,000. So it's the quantity per firm times the number of firms equals quantity supplied industry or the market. Okay. If the price were $11, then we look at price of 11 for the individual firm, discover that they produce 9. There are 1,000 firms, 9,000. At 10, 8 by each firm, 1,000 firms is 8,000. 9, 7 per firm, 7,000. 8, 6 per firm, 6,000. $7, 5 per firm, 5,000. If the market price falls to 6, each firm will produce 4. There are 1,000 firms, 4,000. Okay. Explain briefly how the short-run supply curve of the competitive industry is derived. It's derived by taking the amount produced by each firm, multiplying by the number of firms. And we find the number produced by each firm by finding where price equals marginal cost. Okay, so now let's look at this. Given the present 1,000 firms in the industry, the present market price, so we need to find an equilibrium. Well, here the quantity demanded is too low, the quantity supplied is too high. This is a surplus. Down here, at $7, because demand is a negative relationship between price and quantity, as price fell, quantity demanded rose. Supply is a positive relationship, as price fell, quantity supplied fell. So here we have a shortage. There's 2,000 more. The equilibrium will prevail here. At $8, there will be 6,000 demanded and 6,000 supplied. The demand information will be given to you. We've derived the quantity supplied from the individual firm. Given the 1,000 firms present in the industry, the current market price will be $8, 6 and 6, $8. The present equilibrium quantity is 6,000. And at this price, each firm will be making, we'll be making economic profit or economic loss. If the price is $8, we go back to our table and we find where marginal cost equals price of $8. So they'll produce 6 units each. And the average total cost will be $6.50. They'll make $1.50 a unit. On 6 units. So that would be $9 total economic profit. Given the equilibrium above, and assuming other firms can join the industry, remember one of the assumptions of a purely competitive industry is low barriers to entry, the number of firms in the industry in the long run will tend to increase, and the price will decrease. If we have a traditional supply and demand graph, and the number of firms increases, then the price will fall, and the quantity will rise. The output of the industry will increase, while the output per firm will decrease. This is very counterintuitive. Here's what it looks like. We're going to draw our individual firm, a check mark for marginal cost, a flat saucer minimizing at marginal cost for average variable cost, and a wide gap narrowing to a smaller gap for average total cost, still minimizing here. If the price were high, then the firm would be willing to produce a high quantity. But if the price fell, naturally the individual firm will react negatively to that, supply being a direct relationship between price and quantity supplied. The reason that the industry quantity will rise is because although the quantity per firm is going down, the number of firms is increasing, and that will result in this increase in quantity for the industry as the supply curve shifts out, a lower equilibrium price. Quantity for the industry shifts out, lower equilibrium price. Number of firms entering offsets the decrease per price. But each individual firm faced with a lower price will move down the marginal cost curve to that point. If this is a constant cost industry, meaning that as firms demand more resources, the supply is still available at that price. Their cost won't change. The long-run equilibrium this will be. Well, now we have to find the long-run equilibrium. Let's talk about what the long-run equilibrium is in an industry. So we're going to go back to our graphs. Here, a firm is making an economic profit. Right? At this price, average total cost is here. So this firm is making an economic profit of this much per unit on this many units. Firms will enter the industry. The supply curve will shift to the right. Price will fall. The question is, how far will it fall? Now, let's say we're in a loss minimizing situation. Here's our price, but here's our average total cost. Our price is greater than average variable, so we'll produce. This firm is making an economic loss. Firms will leave the industry. The supply curve will shift to the left. Quantity will fall, but price will rise. So at what point will we have an equilibrium? We're going to end up with an equilibrium where price equals marginal cost equals average total cost min. Right. Okay, let's do a clean one. Price too high. Economic profit compared to average total cost. Supply will increase as the number of firms increases, and price will fall. This is profit max. Loss min. Our price is between average variable cost, average total cost. Price equals marginal cost. Go up to average total cost. This is our economic loss. Firms will leave the industry because there are no barriers to entry. Quantity in the market will fall. Price will rise. Now, although the quantity in the market will fall as firms leave, firms will respond positively to this increase in price by producing more. So it moves the opposite way. Now, this is going to continue. Have you noticed that in each situation, the average total cost curve is between? What's going to happen in the long run, this is echo profit, this is echo loss. This adjustment process will continue until the price equals marginal cost as well as average total cost min. At that point, there will be no economic profit and no economic loss, and the industry will be at equilibrium, and there will be no reason for firms to enter or exit the field. That is our long-run equilibrium. So, if this is a consequence industry, the long-run equilibrium in the industry will be, so now we have to go back to our table and find average total cost min. Well, there's average total cost min right here. And that happens when the firm produces 4 units individually. Okay. Each firm is producing 4 units individually. Now, at average total cost min, at marginal cost of 6, each firm is producing 4 units individually. Our average total cost, notice, is minimizing here at 6. So we've got average total cost min of 6. Marginal cost, coincidentally at 6, giving us a quantity of 4. So, if our price eventually becomes $6, right, then the prevailing equilibrium, because we were making an economic profit at 8, the prevailing equilibrium quantity demanded will be 8,000, which means that the industry will supply 8,000 in the long run. So this number is going to increase as the quantity supplied, as the supply curve shifts to the right, as more firms enter because of the economic profit happening here, the economic profit which we calculated here. Now, if the equilibrium price is 6, then we go back to our table, go down until we find marginal cost of 6. Each firm is producing 4. Each firm is producing 4. The quantities in the market will be 8,000. So how many firms will there be? 8,000 total produced, 4 by each firm. Each firm will be producing 2,000. I mean, there will be 2,000 firms in the industry. Quantity per firm 4. Quantity supplied in total by the industry 8,000 means there has to be 2,000 firms at 4 each to produce 8,000. So the long-run equilibrium will be 8,000. At that point, the price is 6, average total cost is 6, and marginal is 6. So ordinarily, because the purely competitive firm has a perfectly elastic demand curve, and the price taken from the market, price equals marginal revenue equals average revenue equals demand, all because this is perfectly elastic, which we showed in a prior example. You're going to set all of that to marginal cost, which will give us the best result for the firm, which is going to either be price equals marginal cost, marginal cost equals marginal revenue, price, demand, average revenue. Then finding what condition applies, price, given these scenarios. He'll either be profit maximizing, loss minimizing, shutting down. Because originally in this example they were profit maximizing, More firms entered the industry, driving the price down. Quantity up as supply shifted to the right, but in response to the lower price, each firm produced less. But there were so many more firms that offset the amount less that was produced. And so here, in the long run, we have another equality of average total cost min, and that gives us a long run equilibrium. So in the long run, we would have marginal cost, average variable cost, average total cost. Originally, we were at this price of 8, and each firm was producing 6, and the price fell to 6, and we were at price equals marginal cost equals average total cost minimum, and each firm, as a result, was only producing 4. The quantity in the market, though, at 8 was 6,000, but because price fell, each firm, eventually the equilibrium in the market became 8,000. And that's the long-run adjustment mechanism from a short-run equilibrium that results in an economic profit or loss per firm, firms entering and exiting the field, and a long-run adjustment to the point where we have this additional condition that in the long run, average total cost min equals to price.